Hello, how you doing?
Hey, hey, hey.
Hey, it's great to talk to you. Great to talk to you, and
Yeah,
thank you for being a part of what we do here on the
mm,
Gospel Zone. Now,
yeah, it's a pleasure.
music started in the church. Being part of you were part of the original London Community Gospel Choir, the LCGC choir.
Yep, yep, the original.
The original, incredible, and
Members.
when we get back, and it's God, how many years? But it's been a while.
It's been a while. It's been a while.
It's been a while. And
Mm,
you were one of the founding lead vocalist and soloist for that.
yeah.
In terms of music, what was it like at the time? And was it something that you wanted to do, or was it because that you just happened to be in the mix of what was happening at the time?
Do you know what? I've always wanted to be in the mix, doing music. Loved it. It was an exciting time. Um, and I just grew up under so much just raw, exciting talent. There were quite a lot of people who were really mentoring me. I looked up to quite a lot of the young people in my church.
Yeah.
They were young people at the time. They were my elders. People like Basil Mead, um, Tony Pratt, Carl Booth, Sadie Pottinger, all these people you wouldn't know, but they were like the legends in my church, and I would look up to them, singing and stuff like that, and think, yeah, I want to do that.
Of course,
That's what
they were the big people then, isn't it? They were the big people.
they were the big people. The little one looking up, you know. And I had people like Basil who started the group Kanos back in the day.
Okay,
So
yeah, yeah.
he was one of the first group. They were one of the first groups in gospel to start a band, you know, and get themselves, out there, recorded their music. So I had a lot of influence, as to what direction I could go in, you know.
And at that time, did you think? I mean, you're probably just enjoying it, but did you ever dream or think of taking it to a different level, a professional level, and arguably being paid for what you were doing?
Well, and that's the thing, because I went along for it. I went along, with it, being in it, being immersed in it, and then LCGC started doing like sessions. So Basil started, saying, "Oh, this person wants us to do some singing on their album. How about it? And you can get paid." And I'm like, wow, really? I'm like, oh my God, you know. So I started sessioning really, really young. And yeah, we did stuff with I'll tell you who we did stuff with at the time. It would have been people like Cliff Richards. It would have been oh gosh, what's the guy's name again? From the Beatles. Um Paul McCartney,
Okay, yeah,
you know. um, um, and Hugh Masekela.
yes,
So
yeah, yeah.
those were my very first, sessions that I did,
Wow.
and paid for it. Um, and then I did the session that I got the most money for, like back in the day, was when I worked with Errol Brown Hot Chocolate.
Okay, yeah, yeah.
And oh my gosh, we got put up in a hotel, um, and then on top of it, we received like £400.
Wow, wow.
I
And that
mean,
and that was back
and
in.
that was a whole heap of money.
Of course, it
I
was.
think I think I must have bought my first settee with it.
It's interesting, isn't it? Uh,
Yeah.
I mean, great time. I'm sure. I'm sure you learned a lot. You were probably
Oh gosh, yeah,
thrown in at the deep end.
yeah, throwing in at the deep end, absolutely.
But one thing,
Yeah.
but one thing I'm sure did happen is that
Mm.
there was. Correct me if I'm wrong here. There would have been some backlash from various members of the church.
Yes, there was. There was when we were in LCGC. Um, we did get a lot of backlash because, we started out kind of like quite traditional in the way we appeared. We had these little pillar box hats, and quite a long sleeve dress and all that. And then later on, we kind of like ditched that,
Wow.
and we got rid of the hats, so we were looking a little bit more on the secular side.
Your
And
word.
I don't think the church like that at all. You know,
Yeah, yeah. And I
they
suppose,
really,
some people would look at it by saying, actually, you were pioneers, you were uh,
yeah,
trailblazers, you were pace
yeah,
setters, whatever description you
yeah,
want to use.
definitely,
Um,
definitely,
and unfortunately, whoever is going to start out will always get, you'd say, will always
yeah,
get that challenge, dare I say. And maybe some of it may have been justified. Who knows? I wasn't there, don't know what it was, but I'm sure there would have been some controversy.
yes,
Yeah.
there always is. Yeah, when you're at the forefront. Yeah.
And talking of the forefront, you also spent some time with one of what I call one of the premier UK gospel bands of New Colours, uh,
Yeah.
and I would have got it on an album. I think I've got it on album and CD. But it was called
Mhm.
Unlimited back in 1992.
Gosh,
I know. Tell me about it. I mean, what was that like? I mean, that would have been probably
yes. Was
what
it that far back?
1992.
Oh,
Um,
I mean, I thought it was 93, 94. Okay.
and
Oh,
I mean, what was that like? I mean, you were part of being one of the UK
oh
premier
boy.
gospel acts.
That was another exciting time. Really, it was just, it was a time that I felt really, really privileged, really privileged to be picked to be a part of the band, because there was a lot of and ahhings going on about, who should join, who should be in the band and stuff like that. Because it started off as Colours of LCGC, so it started off as a large group, but then the record company couldn't see a large group moving forward, so
Sure.
they had to limit down. So, felt really privileged to be one of the ones that got into the last the last slots, as it were.
Chosen ones.
Yeah, chosen. Yeah, chosen is the word.
I suppose.
Yeah,
I suppose. Let's just get this in order. So there was LCGC, and then
yeah,
I believe that there was a group which came out of LCGC called Colours of
yeah.
LCGC,
Colours of LCGC. Yeah.
and
So
then
that was like the creme de la creme of singers
okay,
that, yeah, that came out of LCGC. So it was mainly the lead singers.
okay, yeah,
Um, yeah, because they felt that they would be able to deliver what,
yeah,
what was needed for the album, basically.
okay. Because and I believe
Mm,
Colours of LCGC brought out probably one album, maybe. Uh,
yeah, it was just one.
just one album. Yeah, I loved it. I can still picture
Mm,
the faces on the front, and then
yeah,
moving forward to that, from there to what was New Colours.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Myself, Carol, Lawrence, Faye, and Lane.
Yes,
Yeah,
yeah, the
my,
five,
my brothers and
the
sisters.
fabulous
Love them
five.
to pieces. Love them to pieces.
And that was a great album as well. And
Mm,
I know the journey continues, but
mm.
do you feel that New Colours were properly recognised in church circles, or did you feel that there was a challenge for them to really hit which audience they wanted to meet?
Um, I feel they were recognised amongst my peers. I remember my peers around that time feeling really, um, encouraged that a gospel group was taking the gospel out to the world, out to the secular world. Um, uh, but you've got to realise that the record company are in it for the money. So they're,
Of course.
and we didn't have a very strong gospel market or identity at the time. So they're not gonna push into a market that's not going to give them any yield. You see what I mean?
Of course, yeah,
So
yeah.
I mean, you've got to put yourself in their shoes. You know, if you're a business, you know, you're gonna kind of like push in the area that you're gonna get back. You know,
You want your payback. They want the payback.
yeah,
Yeah, they invest in you. They want the payback.
so,
It is just
yeah.
what it is.
It's just what it is, really. It's just the industry. Um, but yeah, I do feel that the you know, enough was done, because we did have we did get pushed in the US market, because the US had a decent gospel market,
Absolutely.
and so they did push us over there. Do you know what I mean?
You mentioned about some big names when you started out, the likes of Cliff Richard. I've forgotten everyone's name now. From the, Paul McCartney.
Paul McCartney,
Some big
you
names there.
know,
Earl Brown. I mean, working in those circles, you.
Cher. I
Pardon?
remember what Cher. Remember?
Oh, okay, of course, of course. How can you forget? Um, I mean, all of those experiences would have shaped you, or maybe your experiences beforehand, even in terms of being in church circles and also working in those environments, must have
Mm,
shaped you in terms of experience, in terms of professionalism.
oh God,
How would
definitely.
how would you tell that story?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, working with all those different people, it really does help you to sharpen what you do. Um, and it's kind of it's kind of shaped who I am. Um, they say sometimes that perfectionism isn't good, but I think it's good if you can temper it, if you use it, you know, to just have an excellent spirit.
Yeah,
Um, uh, yeah, so I think it kind of like influenced me in that way, in that wherever I do, whatever I do, I like to do it to the best of my ability. You
yeah,
know, that's how it shaped me. So that kind of like follows through all aspects of my life. If I'm doing something, do it well, you know, because you want to you know, make Jesus look good, as
that's
they
great.
say.
The presentation is important, isn't it? And you know, and people want to see something that's polished, that's well rehearsed, well delivered. And I suppose why should we not have that within church circles?
Within the church, exactly. You know, I've always kind of like been under Lawrence's tutelage and Basil's tutelage, and they've always said, you know, we've got to do things 150%. You know, just because we are in the church doesn't mean that we lower our standards. You know, we're used to certain standards, stick to it. Always do your best. You know.
Absolutely.
So, yeah, so that has shaped who I am.
So, and who would you see as some of your, you said two great names there, some of your musical influences? Basil, I've spoken to, probably I've interviewed Basil in the last year, and also Lawrence as well.
Yeah,
Two great inspirational people within
absolutely.
UK gospel, and
Absolutely.
internationally recognized as well for their excellence.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it's just been, you know, they're my big brothers.
Okay.
You know, I grew up with them. They're my big brothers. I can go to them anytime, and you know, it's, you know, I don't have to put on any airs and graces. I can just be totally myself, and they'll tell me how it is. You know, um, they're always encouraging, but they will kind of like, you know, guide me and tell me, yeah, this is good, that's good, or you know, I think you should do this, or you know. So yeah, it's just been a privilege to have grown up underneath them,
That's
really.
And, and
Yeah.
and how do you see that gospel music has changed over the years? I mean, obviously, changes, continuity and change is important. How do you feel that gospel music has developed and changed and evolved over the years that you've been around?
You know what? I've kind of like taken my eye off the ball when it went in terms of gospel music, because I listen to everything. I don't try to put myself into a box. Um, but the few artists that I have seen that I kind of admire the way they handle themselves, people like Kirk Franklin, because I'm always, I like people that are innovative. I like
Yeah, yeah.
uh, I love my trad. Don't get me wrong. I love my trad, and I'll always go back to my trad. But I absolutely love when people are just at the cutting edge, are always, looking at things in a different way. People like Ty Tribbett, Kirk Franklin, they kind of like rehash the old kind of,
Yeah, yeah.
like Kirk Franklin. I love what he does with songs. He kind of revamps that old soul, and then kind of puts it into his music.
I mean,
Um,
it's like he's saying, you know what, the new stuff is good, but we don't want to forget the old stuff, do we?
exactly.
It all has a place.
Um, yeah, absolutely. And then I actually like Donald Lawrence's stuff. I absolutely love um, what he speaks about. It's what he speaks about. It's just got so much depth, you know. Um,
I use the word,
so
use the word of Donald. I use the word excellence. He's always very polished,
yes,
very polished. Yeah. So it's 2020, a year of unprecedented change. We've heard so much about it.
yeah,
And one thing I have loved actually is seeing the creativity of creatives, artists, in a year when actually you're thinking things are really going to be very quiet. We've, s-
yeah,
we've seen artists effectively doing more. Maybe they've been pushed into a corner to say, this is the time to do it. So
yeah,
what was it that led
yeah.
to you? What was it that led to you doing this EP this year?
Well, this EP has been trying to get there every year because I got with Nikki Brown um 4 years ago. I brought some unfinished songs to him and said, what can you do with this? You know, can you
Yeah.
help me? Can you
Wow.
help me? Produce these songs to good level.
Yeah.
And he said, absolutely. He said, yeah, Pat, I'd love to. And yeah, so we got together and we started kind of like just shaping my songs and adding to them, and yeah, they're completely different from the original. um and then time went on. you know uh life happens. It just took 4 years. And yeah, we just decided to get it out this year. So what better time, you know um I feel the timing is right. The timing is right because how it's all happened. I feel that God has placed certain people in my life
Okay. Yeah.
to kind of like help help me along, and I don't think that would have happened if I had put the EP out earlier.
And sometimes it's about timing, isn't it?
Yeah,
Sometimes we think that we have it perfected, and suddenly,
yeah,
but nah, this is how it's going to be.
yeah, exactly.
And what's it like
Mm.
working with Nicky Brown? I mean, he is a musical genius in this country, musical
Oh
legend
my God.
in gospel
He,
circles, definitely.
I always say to him, Nikki, you've got the Midas touch. You've just got the Midas touch, because he just took my work and just, it's like, they say a diamond, you know is kind of like, it has to go through the pressure and mold it, and
Yeah,
then it comes out beautiful. I just feel like that's what Nikki did with my music, you know.
brilliant, brilliant.
Mhm.
And
Mm. Let's start with glitters.
glitters, okay.
Okay. yeah, let's start with Glitters. So Glitters, for me, Glitters is a song where God always speaks to me in a different way. It's a song that it grows. It's like a tree that's got different branches, and it speaks to you wherever you are in life.
Yeah.
Yeah. But how Glitters came about is through my my mate Emma. You know Emma?
Okay. Yes. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So guess what happened, right? So we were on stage and I had this diamante bracelet on, and she was admiring it, and she was saying, "Oh, that's a nice bracelet, can give me a wear with it."
The watcher.
And
The watcher.
and I said to her, not all that glitters is gold.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Okay.
And she said, "Oh," she goes, "Hmm, there's a message in that." She goes, and she gave me that look. She goes, "No, you need to tell that message." Because basically that same bracelet snags all my clothes, and I always never wear it because it does that. It tears up all my clothes. So I thought, and I was thinking that Sunday, should I wear it? I have to wear it because it's so beautiful, and I never wear it. So I wore it that Sunday, and then she spoke into me and said, "I have to tell that message." So 3 years later, those words came back up in my spirit, and I just started writing.
Oh,
Just
okay.
started writing, and I performed it, performed the song at a spoken word event in Luton. Um, and I also had a friend of mine that used to go to my church. He was a rapper, and he did a big rap section in the middle of the song.
Okay. Okay.
Um, so so it's kind of totally changed because the rap section got taken out when I started working on it with Nikki, and so when I listen to it, it feels like there's a big chunk, big empty space. Do you know
Okay.
what I mean? But no one else would notice that. Do you know
Glitters.
what I mean?
I'm sure there'll be a Glitters part two. Maybe you can yeah, when you do the album, maybe you can do a the remix version with Glitters part two in it. So
Well,
uh,
that is something. Yeah, yeah, definitely could.
so there was Glitters, and let's talk about the other two. What the other two songs are Love You That Much and I Thank You, Lord.
Thank you, Lord. Yeah. So, I Thank You, Lord was the song that resonated with Nicky first. So when I took all my songs to him, that was the one that kind of like, he goes, "Yeah, I like that one,"
Okay,
you
yeah.
know, and so we worked on that first, you know, and that song basically um, was kind of like born out of a number of challenges that I was going through in my life, with work, with family, yeah, and basically, with each challenge, God always brought me through, always opened a door. It's just like just miracles after miracles. Um, and I just started to write that song. I had the chorus, and I remember actually singing the chorus in church. I hadn't written the verses yet. I
Okay.
just did the refrain in church. Um, and I just wanted a song that I could sing that was like thanking God for what he'd done for me and what he'd brought me through.
Yeah, yeah.
Mhm. So yeah, so that was born, and yeah, and finished with Nikki's Midas touch help. Yeah, yeah,
Absolutely,
and
without a doubt.
and love you that much. Um, Nikki was saying that we should do a cover. And I said to him, well, I've actually performed Love You That Much before at this spoken word event that I did. So how about me, because I know it and because I really love it. I really love that song. Always loved it. Why not we do a cover of that? And then he said, yeah, and he goes, we could mash it up with something else. And I said, oh, so what about Ty Tribbett, Love You Forever? And so he said, yeah. So we just started to just jam.
Yeah. Just merge it.
We just jam, and that's what came out.
Beautiful.
That's what came out. He just gelled the two together.
Who sang the original of Love You That Much? I know Mary did the version, didn't they?
Yeah, it's a Mary track.
Ah, okay. As soon as I heard it, I was like, yeah.
Yeah.
Sounds.
And I've always loved Mary stuff. I used to always use their stuff for choir stuff. So when I was doing like supply teaching, and I would go to schools and always head for the music department, and end up like teaching the choirs and stuff like that, and using quite a lot of Mary songs to teach the choir.
Yeah, I can see that, absolutely. Yeah.
So yeah.
Talking of Mary, who would you like to collaborate with?
So that's the thing now. You might say that my chest is high, but the person that I would have loved to collaborate with is no longer with us.
And who would that be?
Aretha Franklin.
Come on now, hey.
Yeah, Aretha Franklin.
Technology can do wonderful things, you know.
Yeah. Otherwise, there's just too many legends. I just couldn't pick it.
So the EP is now out. How can people get hold of it? Where is it available?
The EP is out on all of the major platforms.
Okay.
All of the major platforms: Spotify, Amazon, iTunes, all of them. All of those main platforms. It's out on.
And it's Destinee, so it's DESTINEE.
Destinee.
Yeah. Knight Scott.
Yes.
So people can look. And the EP is called?
The EP is called Destinee.
Destinee, okay.
But they will have to look under Destinee Knight Scott, because there are a number of Destinies out there, which I didn't know.
But you know,
I know now.
Put your name in Destinee Knight Scott, and I'm sure they'll be able to find you as well. And if people want to follow you on social media, what's your handles?
So it's the same. It's going to be Destinee Knight Scott.
Brilliant.
On all of the all of my social media.
Brilliant. Well, you know, we really look forward to it. I'm not quite sure what track I'm going to play yet. Maybe play a couple of them, but people should go and support, and we really want to wish you well. So thank you again for being part.
Thank you for having me.
No, thank you. It's been a pleasure. Really grateful to talk to you, and look forward to seeing you at some point at a live gig, and maybe in 2021.